Hello, my name is Patricia Clark, and I'm going to read a few poems for you from my book called The Canopy. It came out in 2017 from Terrapin Books, and it's widely available from the usual bookstores, and I would encourage you to try an independent bookstore if that's a possibility for you. The Canopy is largely a book of poems that is a journey, as many books of poems are. And this is a journey both into nature and into life and death. I'm going to start with one of the first poems in the book called Balanced January. This is something I see around the place where I live, and I thought initially about calling the poem Turkey Yoga, but I decided Balanced January was a better title. Balanced January. It's stranger than you can account for, being alive, a cold January morning, and 20 wild turkeys high up in white oaks, their waking up stretches in half light, first unbending out of a hunched ball, then unfurling a wing, the second, while the broad tail sticks out, flares, judders up and down. Everyone says how stupid they are, will drown when it rains simply by gazing up. I can't call them beautiful, but I grudgingly give them credit for the way they balance on brittle thin branches, seemingly without fear. How to have poise, to nestle down to rest on a fragile thing. The nice thing about hearing poets read from their work is they sometimes tell you little secrets about the poems, and I'm going to try to do that too. This is a poem that is after another poet, and I'm very fond of the English poet Philip Larkin, and this poem is after his poem called Water. Mine is called Hardwoods. If I were called in to construct a religion based on what's at hand, I would make use of trees. Some rituals could involve lying at their feet in wonder, detecting color variation as examples in green alone of God's variety of grace. Stripping naked, a baptismal rite would involve being tied to a trunk, standing through rain. We could try grouping up under their boughs in prayer, hearing sighs in wind, the suing cry of ecstasy or remembered pain. Couples in training for marriage would practice grafting the slender cut, insertion of a wood sliver, then binding with tape to see what grows. Imagining last rites would mean deadwood under bite of saw or the axe, the curative mysteries lent by fire, then rising smoke. Resurrection always takes place at dawn, gray, decomposing leaf scent mixing with the uplift of ash, lake effect snow, voices saying my name. As a kid, I was fascinated by a book many of you have probably read called The Borrowers, where there are some little people. And I think that's partly where this poem comes from. It's called Milkweed Pod. It's the boat I choose for transport into the new year. I lie down in its hammered gold, my right shoulder against its curve. From this posture, I will study stars, meteors, Milky Way, and any way. I trust to its rough bark, gray, textured like a mouse's ear, waterproof, seam split. Reaching up, I touch a furled sail of seeds sleeping. Do you note the light changing along the river? Already it seeps in, lifting hem of this, edge of seed, fur of seed pod shell and stem, set adrift, a light. I spent a little time in Ireland over a couple of trips, and I somehow connect this poem with that. And I credit another poet, Nicholas Samaras, because I wrote this poem trying to catch a rhythm he had in his poem. This is called Artisan. I make this room a country of flowers. Winter demands it. Broken trees, frozen ground, speaking of the grave, a terrible diction I refuse to learn. It's fair, I think, to long for what refuses us, the moss green of new growth, delicate blossoms in balloon or ray shapes. I make this room a country of petals, the Gallica rose in its fuchsia extravagance, repeat blooming into August. I make this room a country of shelter, roof and floor, a steady pledge from the safe, walls the very symbol of sentinels. I make this room a country for those sent away, the one from Wiley Street, lover of horses and words, and an Irish writer, his narrow, kind face, a clerk at 16, a laboring lad, and not my sister, one who fast walks 8 miles around her city a day, not going anywhere. I demand an end to this cataloging, this dreaded leave-taking. Instead, I make this room my country of astringent light, trying to craft out of cold air an enlightening brew, aiming to create with lamenting words, deep sorrow, an invigorating heel-kicking tune. There are so many ways poems start. Certainly for me, another way is reading other poets and getting inspiration from them. This is titled After Lightning. I am the bright sliver of wood thrown like a spear into the ground. Where whitetails step past, there are signs of their passing, and also the red-tailed hawk on the woodpile, the rustlings of prey, chipmunk, whiskered mouse. I am the creek that meanders behind these houses, watershed hidden in ravines, unnamed. Like secret tears, I soften, flow. Movement instead of stasis, a sparkling silver like a necklace thrown off. I am the chorus of peepers, surprising ears after winter's hard silence. When the oaks join in with their rustling, a layer of sound goes on top, varnish, a clear coat. I am the mysterious offering of a hand to the one who turned away, and the delphinium bloom with a black eye, the heart of a sister's hardened heart. What word would I say? Even a movie can inspire a poem, and I saw a wonderful one called The Lunchbox, After the Lunchbox. He lamented his crowded country, the man with soulful eyes in the movie. I had to buy a burial plot where I'll be standing up. This morning I raised up the 2-foot splinter from the lightning-struck tree to save a black and white bumblebee on the porch, using this wood as my wand. From what I've seen, it helps to keep a handkerchief handy. Leaf mounds heaped in the ravine buried another from last year and the year before. We'll be coming back as mulch, my brother, whether standing up or lying down. And I'm going to close with a poem near the end of the book called The End of Grief. The End of Grief. When red oaks have gone to sticks, when full summer has scorched us and we lie satiated, sweat salty, tired of feasts and yet still green, ready for the stripping down. When the flocks have come through in clouds, cedar waxwings with their bold masks, delighting me, not singing, but feasting, gulping mulberries in the leafless time. When the season turns and what we glimpse ahead is almost welcomed, season's death, ours too. Then I'll let her go, dear one. I'll close my rent heart. Thank you.